Throwaway account because my life just imploded and I need to get this out before I lose my mind completely. I, 34M, have been married to my wife Sarah, 32F, for 8 years. We have 2 kids, 6M, 4F. Until 3 weeks ago, I thought we had the perfect marriage. The kind people envy. Date nights, inside jokes. That thing where you can communicate with just a look across a crowded room. I was so fucking wrong. And the worst part? I'm not the victim here anymore. I've become something worse. It started innocently enough. Sarah's phone kept buzzing during dinner, like constantly. She looked stressed, kept glancing at it, but wouldn't check it. Said it was just her mom being dramatic about Thanksgiving plans. I believed her because why wouldn't I? That night after she fell asleep, I couldn't shake this feeling. You know that gut instinct that something is off? Like the air pressure changed, but you can't explain why? I told myself I was being paranoid. Told myself that checking her phone would make me that husband, the insecure, controlling type. But I did it anyway. I wish to God I hadn't. The messages weren't what I expected. Not some obvious affair with heart emojis and, "I miss you, baby." No, this was one darker. There was a group chat, about 12 people, and they were planning something called the November Project. At first, I thought maybe it was a surprise party for me. My birthday's in November, but as I scrolled, my blood went cold. They were planning to rob a jewelry store. My wife was part of a crew planning an actual heist. I sat there in our bathroom at 2 a.m. shaking, reading through months of messages. She had a whole second life I knew nothing about. Code names, meeting locations. She told me she was at book club every Thursday. There was no fucking book club. The messages were detailed, professional even. These weren't amateurs. They had blueprints, guard schedules, someone on the inside. And Sarah? She was the face, the one who'd go in during the day to scope things out, distract the staff. I felt like I was reading about a stranger. This woman I'd made breakfast for that morning, who'd kissed our kids goodnight, who'd whispered, "I love you," before falling asleep with her head on my chest. Who was she? I didn't sleep that night, just stared at the ceiling while she breathed softly beside me, wondering if I'd ever really known her at all. My mind was racing. Should I confront her? Call the police? Was she in danger? Was our family in danger? But there was something else creeping in, something I'm ashamed to admit. A small, dark part of me was impressed. My quiet, Pinterest-loving wife, who worked as a dental hygienist, was planning a heist. It was insane. It was terrifying. It was kind of incredible. I waited 3 days. 3 days of pretending everything was normal while I died inside. I watched her make pancakes, help with homework, laugh at our son's knock-knock jokes. The whole time thinking, you're living a lie. We're living a lie. On Thursday, I told her I knew about book club. The color drained from her face. She tried to deny it, but I pulled up the messages I'd screenshotted. Watching her facade crack was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. She cried. God, she cried so hard. Told me everything. It started 2 years ago. She reconnected with an old friend from college, Marcus, who was into some things. At first, it was just excitement. Planning hypotheticals, playing pretend. She said it made her feel alive. Again, after years of diapers and minivans and losing herself to motherhood. Then it became real. They started actually planning jobs. Small stuff at first. She swore they never went through with anything. But this jewelry store thing, this was their big score. The one that would set everyone up. She'd get $200K, enough to pay off the house. Put the kids through college. I was doing it for us, she sobbed. For our family. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to shake her. Part of me wanted to hold her. Part of me wanted to run and never come back. But mostly, I just felt numb. Here's where I become the monster. I told her I wouldn't turn her in. That we'd figure this out together. She was so relieved she couldn't breathe. Kept saying, thank you, I'll fix this, I'll call it off. But I didn't want her to call it off. I wanted in. I know what you're thinking. I know, but let me explain. Or try to, at least. We're drowning in debt. My dad's medical bills from his cancer treatment last year destroyed our savings. We're one emergency away from losing everything. I work 60-hour weeks at a job I hate just to keep us afloat. And here was a solution. Risky? Absolutely. Insane? Completely. But it was right there. Plus, and this is the part that makes me sick, I was hurt. Angry. She'd had this secret life without me. This whole other identity. And some twisted part of me wanted to be part of it. Wanted to prove I wasn't just the boring husband she needed to hide things from. So I told her, I'm coming with you. She looked at me like I'd grown a second head. No, absolutely not. You don't understand what you're saying. Then explain it to me. We fought for hours. She said I didn't know these people. Didn't understand the risks. That she'd been training, planning, preparing for months. That I'd be a liability. But I held firm. Either I was in or I was calling the FBI. I hated myself for the ultimatum even as I said it. Hated watching her face crumble as she realized she had no choice. Hated that I was using her crime as leverage to commit one myself. She finally agreed on one condition. I had to meet Marcus and the crew. If they said no, I'd drop it. I said yes. The meeting was set for Saturday night. Marcus's apartment was in a part of town I usually avoided. Old factory district, sketchy lighting, the works. Sarah held my hand the entire drive there, squeezing so hard my fingers went numb. Just don't talk unless they ask you something, she whispered as we walked up 3 flights of stairs. And don't mention our kids. Don't mention anything specific about our life. The apartment was nicer than I expected inside, clean, modern, about 8 people. Were there? Lounging around like they were having a normal Saturday hangout. Marcus answered the door. Mid-40s, fit, with the kind of relaxed confidence that comes from being in complete control. He looked me up and down. So you're the husband? I am. Sarah says you want to play with the big kids. I want to help my wife. He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. That's sweet. Let's talk. For the next 2 hours, they grilled me. What did I do for work? IT consultant. What were my skills? Network security, systems analysis. Why did I want to do this? The truth, money, and hurt pride, but I gave them a cleaner version. Then Marcus laid out the plan. The jewelry store was in an upscale mall. 3 floors, multiple exits, sophisticated security. But they had someone inside. Jules, they called her, who could disable specific cameras at specific times. The job was set for Black Friday weekend, when the store would be packed with inventory, but also with customers and chaos. Sarah's role? Go in as a customer during the day shift, cause a distraction at the front of the store. During the distraction, 2 crew members would enter. Through the back, maintenance. Tunnel that Jules had access to. They'd have exactly 4 minutes to get to the safe. Open it. Jules would have already disabled the time lock from inside. Fill the bags and leave. Clean. Simple. In and out. My role, if they accepted me? I'd be watching security camera feeds from outside, making sure no one was catching on, that the cameras stayed down, and alerting the crew to any police response faster than their scanner would. It was actually smart. Really smart. Marcus said if I wanted in, I had to prove myself. There was a practice run planned for the following week. A small jewelry counter at a department store. Nothing would be stolen, but they'd run through the motions. Time it. Test communications. See if I could handle the pressure. If you freeze, if you panic, if you fuck up even a little, Marcus said, leaning in close, you're out. And if you ever become a liability to this crew, to Sarah, to any of us, it won't end well for you. Understand? I understood. Sarah was silent the entire drive home. When we got back, the kids were asleep. The babysitter left, and we just stood in our kitchen staring at each other. I can't believe you're doing this, she finally said. I can't believe you've been doing this, I shot back. This is different. This is... What, dangerous? Criminal? Yeah, Sarah, it is. For both of us now. She started crying again. I never wanted this for you. For us. I thought I could keep it separate. Nothing separate anymore. The test was on a Wednesday afternoon. I'd called in sick to work. Sarah told her office she had a dentist. Appointment, the irony, wasn't lost on me, the dental hygienist, taking a fake dental appointment to commit crime. I was positioned in my car in the parking lot. Laptop open, hijacked into the store's Wi-Fi network. It was easier than it should have been. Retail security is a joke. I had camera feeds up, police scanner running, encrypted comms in my ear. All clear, I confirmed. All right, Diamond, Marcus's voice crackled. Everyone had code names. Sarah was Diamond. I was Glitch. I fucking hated it. You see the counter? Visual confirmed. Jules is heading to the back now. Face is approaching the counter. I watched Sarah on the grainy camera feed. She looked so normal. Just another customer browsing. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over the comms. Everything happened fast. Sarah asked to see something from the back. The moment the clerk turned, 2 crew members slipped behind the counter. One blocked the camera with their body while the other grabbed the training dummy from underneath. It was meant to simulate grabbing merchandise. 45 seconds. They were in and out in 45 seconds. Glitch, we're clear, Marcus said. Any flags? I checked everything. No alarms, no suspicious movement. No security approaching. I checked everything. No alarms, no suspicious movement. No security approaching? All clear, I confirmed. Back at Marcus's apartment, there was celebration. Drinks, laughter, people clapping me on the back saying, I did good for a rookie. Sarah wasn't celebrating. She pulled me aside. You can still back out, she whispered. This was just practice. The real thing, people could get hurt. We could get caught. Our kids could lose both parents. We need the money. We need each other more. She was right. God, she was so right. But I'd already crossed a line. We both had. And there was something electric about it. Something that made me feel more awake than I'd felt in years. I'm seeing this through, I told her. The real job was 3 weeks away. The next 3 weeks were the strangest of my life. During the day, I was regular boring dad. Made lunches, went to work, helped with homework, tucked kids in. At night, I was studying security protocols, learning the mall layout, running scenarios with the crew. Sarah and I were barely talking. The secret we'd shared had somehow pushed us further apart instead of closer. She'd sleep facing away from me. I'd wake up and find her crying in the bathroom, but we kept going. What else could we do? Marcus called an all-hands meeting the night before Black Friday. Final walkthrough, final checks. Tomorrow everything changes for all of us, he said. We do this right, we set ourselves up for life. We do this wrong, we all go down together. So I need to know, is everyone in? Everyone nodded. He looked at me last. Glitch? You ready? I thought about my kids, my house, my old life that felt 1,000,000 miles away. I'm ready. Sarah grabbed my hand under the table. Her palm was sweating. We were really doing this. Also subscribe and hit the bell icon for more confessions. My phone rang at 6:04 a.m. on Black Friday. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this the concerned citizen who wanted to report suspicious activity at Westfield Mall? My blood turned to ice. It was a detective. Detective Morrison from the local PD. I think you have the wrong number, I stammered, trying not to wake Sarah. Really? Because I have a recording here from 3 days ago. Male voice. Sounds a lot like you. Talking about a possible robbery plan for today. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. I quietly slipped out of bed and went to the bathroom. I don't know what you're talking about. Here's what I think happened, Morrison continued. His voice calm, almost friendly. You found out your wife was involved in something bad. You wanted to protect her, but you also wanted to do the right thing. So you called our tip line. Anonymous, of course. Gave us just enough to investigate. That's not... But then something changed. Maybe you got cold feet. Maybe she convinced you to stay quiet. Maybe you decided to join her instead of save her. Either way, now you're in too deep and you're panicking. He was right about the panicking part, but I had never called any tip line, ever. I didn't call you, I said firmly. There was a pause. Then we have a problem. Because someone with your phone number did. And if it wasn't you... Oh, God. Oh, no. I need to go, I said and hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. I pulled up my call history. Nothing to any police department. I checked my recent calls, only the incoming call from Morrison. Then I checked my voicemail. There was one message from 2 days ago that I'd somehow missed. I pressed play. It was my voice. Hi, yes. I'd like to report suspicious activity at the Westfield Mall jewelry store. I have reason to believe there's going to be a robbery on Black Friday. I can't give my name, but you should increase security, please. People could get hurt, but I had never made that call. Someone had faked my voice. Deep-faked it, probably, and called the police, which meant the police would be waiting for us, which meant this was a setup. But who and why? I woke Sarah up immediately. Told her about the call. Showed her the voicemail. Watched her face go from sleepy confusion to pure terror. Someone's setting us up, she whispered. Someone in the crew. We need to call it off. Right now. Marcus will never... I don't give a fuck what Marcus will do. The police know, Sarah. She was crying now, pulling on clothes. If we back out now, Marcus will think we're the rats. He'll come after us, after our family. And if we go through with it, we go to prison. We were both panicking, talking over each other, spiraling. Then Sarah said something that stopped me cold. What if it's not about stopping the heist? What if someone wants us to get caught? We called Marcus, told him we had a problem. He said to come to the warehouse immediately, not his apartment, a different location. We got a babysitter, told her we had a Black Friday emergency at work, not entirely a lie. The whole drive over, my mind was racing through crew members. Who would betray us? Who had the technical skills to deepfake my voice? The warehouse was in an industrial area, completely empty at 7 a.m. Marcus was already there with 3 others. Jules, the inside woman, Hawk, the safecracker, and Slim, the muscle. Talk, Marcus said. I explained about the detective. The fake call. Someone setting us up. Marcus's expression never changed. Play the voicemail. I did. After it finished, he looked at Jules. Your IT, is this real? She listened again, analyzing. It's a deepfake. Pretty good one, too. Probably used samples from his social media or video calls. But yeah, it's not authentic. So someone in this crew, Marcus said slowly, is trying to burn us. Everyone started talking at once. Accusations flying. Slim grabbed Hawk by the collar. Apparently, they'd had beef before. Sarah was crying. It was chaos. Then Marcus pulled out a gun. Everyone shut up, Marcus said, pointing the weapon at the ceiling. Silence. We're not turning on each other. That's exactly what someone wants. He looked at me. Glitch, who else knows about this job? No one. Just this crew. Sarah? Nobody, she said firmly. Marcus nodded slowly. Then he turned to Jules. You've been awful quiet. Jules' eyes went wide. You think You have access to the security systems. You could have planted evidence. You could have... It wasn't me! Jules was backing away. I swear to God, Marcus, I would never... That's when it hit me. It was never about the jewelry, I said quietly. Everyone turned to look at me. Think about it. Someone makes a fake call in my voice specifically. Not Sarah's. Not anyone who's been in the crew for years. Mine. The new guy. The liability. Why? Sarah gasped. Because when everyone gets caught, you're the obvious suspect. The new guy who panicked and called the cops. And while everyone's focused on me, I continued, the real rat gets away clean. Marcus lowered his gun slightly. Keep talking. Whoever did this needs the heist to happen, I said, my mind working through it. They need us to walk into a trap. But why? Just to see us arrested? Unless, Sarah said, her voice shaking, unless someone's getting paid to make sure we get caught. Marcus's face went dark. The insurance company? It clicked into place. The jewelry store had insurance. Big insurance. And insurance companies hate paying out. But if they could catch thieves in the act, prove it was an inside job, they could deny the entire claim. Someone in this crew is working for the insurance company, I said. They're getting paid more to burn us than they'd make from the heist. Slim spoke up. But we'd all go down. Who would risk that? Someone who has immunity, Marcus said quietly. Someone who cut a deal. We all looked at each other. 6 people. 1 traitor. Marcus started pacing. Let's think this through. Who suggested this job? I did, Jules said. I worked there. It was obvious. Who recruited each of you? We went around. Marcus had recruited Hawk and Slim years ago. Jules had brought in 2 others who weren't here yet. Sarah had been recruited by Marcus. And I'd recruited myself. Wait, Hawk said. Where's Torch and Riddle? They should be here. Torch and Riddle, the 2 other crew members. The ones who were supposed to be in the back during the actual heist. The ones who weren't at this emergency meeting. Marcus tried calling them. Both went to voicemail. They ran, Slim said. Or they were never real to begin with, I added. Were they at the practice run? Everyone thought. Back. No. They'd had other commitments. We'd only met them twice. And come to think of it, neither had ever committed anything to writing in the group chat. Jesus Christ, Marcus muttered. They were undercover the whole time. So here we were. The cops knew about the heist. 2 members of our crew were probably undercover agents. And we had about 4 hours before everything was supposed to go down. We abort, Sarah said. We all just disappear, leave town. With what money? Hawk demanded. I'm fucking broke. I need this score. You'll need it to make bail when you get arrested. Sarah shot back. Marcus held up his hand. Everyone calm down. Let's think about this strategically. Strategically? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The police are waiting for us. Maybe, Marcus said. Or maybe they just got a vague tip and don't have enough to act on. Maybe they'll increase security but won't be ready for us. That's insane, I said. Is it? Marcus looked at me. Or is it exactly what someone would want us to think? Call off the job, scatter to the wind, and then those 2 undercovers have nothing. No crime, no arrests, no evidence. Sarah grabbed my arm. He might be right. If we don't do anything illegal, they can't charge us with anything. But they know who we are now, Jules pointed out. Even if we walk away, we're on their radar forever. I couldn't take it anymore. The circular logic, the paranoia, the realization that I'd thrown away everything, my integrity, my safety, my family's future, for a score that was compromised before it even started. I'm out, I said. I don't care what happens. I'm taking my family and I'm leaving. You can't, Marcus said flatly. Watch me. No. I mean, you literally can't. He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. It was our house. Time-stamped from 10 minutes ago. I have insurance, too. You run, you talk, you do anything I don't like? I know where your kids sleep. The room went silent. Sarah lunged at Marcus, but Slim grabbed her. You bastard! You said family was off limits. Family is off limits, Marcus said calmly. As long as everyone plays their part. This was always the deal. You think I'd plan something this big without leverage? I felt sick. You've been watching us this whole time. I've been watching everyone insurance. Here's what's going to happen, Marcus said. We're going through with the job. Modified plan. We know the cops might be waiting, so we adjust. How? Jules asked. We send in a different team. Not the people they're expecting. He looked at Sarah and me. No, Sarah said immediately. Absolutely not. You're the only 2 they might not be watching closely, Marcus explained. Torch and Riddle sold us out, but they don't know about you 2. You were a late addition, under the radar. We're not trained for this, I protested. You did fine in the practice run, and you don't have a choice. He showed us the photo of our house again. Sarah was shaking with rage, or fear, probably both. If we do this and survive, we're done. We take our cut and you never contact us again. Agreed, Marcus said. Assuming you survive? The next 3 hours were a blur. Marcus ran us through a modified plan. No inside help. Jules was compromised since she worked there. No maintenance tunnels, too obvious. Instead, chaos. We'd go in as Black Friday shoppers. Sarah would cause a distraction at the front, same as before. But instead of a crew coming through the back, I'd already be inside hiding in the bathroom with the tools. When alarms went off from Sarah's distraction, I'd move fast, hit the safe while everyone was focused on her, and get out through the service exit. It was reckless. It was stupid. It was happening whether I wanted it to or not. The mall was absolute chaos. Thousands of people. Screaming kids. Frantic shoppers. Perfect cover. I had the tools in a backpack. Looked like I was carrying shopping bags. Made my way to the jewelry store, browsed for a few minutes, then asked to use the restroom. The employee directed me to the public ones down the hall. Instead, I slipped into the employee bathroom behind the counter during a moment when no one was looking. Locked myself in a stall. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. I texted Sarah, in position. She responded, "I love you." "I'm sorry for everything." That made it worse somehow. At 2:47 p.m., I heard it. Sarah's voice, loud and angry. "Excuse me. This is unacceptable. I was here first." She was making a scene at the counter. Perfect. I crept out of the bathroom. The safe was in the back office. Jules had told us exactly where. The door was unlocked. Sloppy security. I could hear Sarah getting louder, more staff members getting involved. I had maybe 90 seconds. The safe was a commercial model, not as sophisticated as I'd feared. The code cracker Marcus gave me worked in 30 seconds. Inside, velvet trays of diamonds, watches, gold. I started filling the bag. Then I heard it. "Police! Nobody move!" Everything happened so fast. Cops flooded the store. I heard Sarah scream. Someone shouted, "Back office now!" I was trapped. I stood there, bag in hand, caught completely red-handed, and thought about my kids, about how I'd never tuck them in again, about how I'd ruined everything. The door burst open. But it wasn't cops. It was Marcus. "What are you doing here?" I gasped. "Change of plans," he said, grabbing the bag from me. "Thanks for the help." Then he punched me in the face. I went down hard, vision blurring. Through the haze, I saw him plant something on the ground near me. A phone. My phone. I couldn't tell. "Sorry, Glitch," he said. "But someone has to take the fall." Better you than me. He was gone before I could process what happened. The real cops arrived seconds later. Found me on the floor, empty bag nearby, safe open. I was arrested on the spot. Detective Morrison interviewed me for hours. I was in shock, barely responding. They had everything. Video of me entering the bathroom, fingerprints on the safe, the bag with my DNA on it. But they also had Sarah. She'd been arrested too, though she hadn't actually taken anything. Morrison laid it out for me. "Here's what I think happened. You found out your wife was planning something illegal. You tried to stop it by calling us. But then you got greedy and decided to do it yourself. She was just the distraction. That's not what happened. Then tell me what did." So I told him everything. Marcus, the crew, the practice run, the deep fake, the threats against my family, Torch and Riddle being undercover. He listened to it all without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "That's a fascinating story. Problem is, we don't have undercover agents named Torch and Riddle." Never did. My mind went blank. "We got an anonymous tip 3 days ago about suspicious activity. We increased security. That's it. There were no undercovers in your crew." "But—" The phone call. "Someone faked my voice." "Or," Morrison said gently, "you made that call yourself. Maybe part of you wanted to get caught. Wanted this to end before you crossed a line you couldn't come back from." I sat in that interrogation room and a terrible thought crept in. What if I had made that call? I'd been so stressed, sleeping so poorly. What if I'd called in a fog and didn't remember? What if my subconscious was trying to save me from myself? No, I heard the voicemail. It sounded wrong. Off. But how wrong? How different? "We checked with the insurance company," Morrison continued. "No one's working with them to set you up. This isn't some elaborate conspiracy. It's just a guy who made bad choices and got caught." He slid a piece of paper across the table. "This is a cooperation agreement. You testify against your wife and the others and we'll reduce your charges. You might do 3 years instead of 15. Testify against Sarah? She brought you into this. She ruined your life. Why protect her?" I sat there for what felt like hours. They let me see Sarah briefly. She was in a different interrogation room, crying, makeup ruined, looking broken. "I'm so sorry," she kept saying. "This is all my fault. I destroyed us. Sarah, did you ever hear me make a phone call to the police?" She looked confused. "What? No. When would you have—" "I don't know. Maybe when I was stressed. Maybe I don't remember." "You didn't call them," she said firmly. "Someone set us up. Marcus or—" "The detective says there were no undercovers. Torch and Riddle were real crew members. They're probably fine." Her face fell. "Then who—" "We were both lost. The guard came to take her away. She grabbed my hand through the bars. Whatever you decide to do, I understand. If you need to cooperate to protect yourself, to get back to our kids faster, do it. I won't blame you. Sarah, I love you. I never stopped loving you. Even when I was lying, even when I was someone else. You were always my real life. They pulled her away. I signed the cooperation agreement. I testified against Sarah, against Marcus, against everyone. I told them every detail of the plan, the practice run, the conversations. I gave them everything. In exchange, I got 3 years. Sarah got 8. Marcus got 15. The others got various sentences. Jules turned out to be clean. She really was just an employee who got mixed up in the wrong crowd. She got probation. Torch and Riddle. They weren't undercover cops. They were just smart enough to not show up that day. Last I heard, they skipped town and were never found. I'm writing this from my parents' house. I served 18 months with good behavior. Got out last week. My kids barely recognize me. They're 8 and 6 now. They think I was away for work. We're going to tell them the truth when they're older. Sarah's still inside. I've visited her twice. It's hard. She doesn't look at me with love anymore. Maybe not even with hate. Just emptiness. My parents take care of the kids now. I'm trying to rebuild a relationship with them, but I'm basically a stranger. I lost my career, my reputation, my wife, my family, everything. And the worst part? I still don't know the truth. Did I make that call to the police? Some part of me that wanted to get caught? Or was it Marcus, setting up a fall guy from the beginning? Or was it Sarah, trying to save me the only way she knew how? By making sure I'd get caught before I crossed a line I couldn't come back from. The voicemail is gone. The police lost it in evidence processing. Convenient. I've listened to recordings of my own voice for hours, trying to remember, trying to hear the difference. But the more I listen, the less sure I am of anything.